Over the Labor Day weekend, Trump supporters gathered to show their support for the president, and in so doing, own themselves. According to the Travis County Sheriff's Office, 5 pro Trump boats ended up sinking, leaving us with some pretty beautiful images, such as this. That's fun. Uh, there's a couple more. Let's see. We have that. You can see more boats sinking. And that iconic picture. Love it. All right. So now I can laugh at that part thanks to the fact that I'm not a horrible person, so I'm glad that nobody was injured or killed. And so, if somebody's property, like their boat, got damaged because of their own stupidity or the stupidity of other people around them, well, I mean, I'm not going to feel too bad about that. All right. Because it is, like I said, fun watching Trump supporters get owned. One person, by the way, who was there recalled to a news outlet, quote, "It was like an ocean out there." Oh, really? Was it full of water? Big water? Ocean water? Kind of, I'm just like, why would you say that? But anyway, she says, "I'm surprised I survived it. We didn't make it all the way around the parade because it was just too much. Just too much." That's, again, somebody who was there, Danielle Severn. And she says, "The boats were mainly just teeter-tottering. A lot of them took on water by the nose. After that, it was over, especially for the smaller boats." Here's the best part, right? So you might think, wow, the weather must have been really bad on Lake Travis, right? Like strong winds and all that stuff can make boats sink. Well, not really. I mean, it can, but that's not what happened. The weather on Lake Travis was actually very calm on Saturday. So why then did 5 Trump boats sink? Well, it turns out that the large number of boats that were moving together produced some pretty large waves, right? According to the sheriff's office. And of course, the larger the boat, the larger the wake. Okay. If you get a lot of large boats, and understand that some of the boats that were there were 60-foot long yachts belonging to some very, very wealthy Trump supporters. So you got a mix of, 60-foot yachts, 20-foot boats, and sometimes, some pontoons, maybe some smaller speedboats. And well, some of those small boats, they're going to get sunk from the waves. So, and that's of course happens if you have terrible boat etiquette, which you're not going to be surprised a lot of the Trump supporters had. They did not know how to treat the smaller boats to make sure they did not sink. Shocker, right? And by the way, if you have a larger boat, there's a better chance that you're well off, right? You're a wealthy person. If you got that 60-foot yacht, you're doing pretty well for yourself, right? And so those boats, along with poor etiquette, sinking the smaller boats, this is probably the best metaphor you'll ever get for supporting Donald Trump. Ever. I mean, if you're poor and you're supporting Donald Trump, prepare to continue being underwater. In this case, in a literal sense, right? But look, you've got rich people and their yachts. They don't care about you, and they've shown that they don't care about you. Okay, and understand that they support Donald Trump and his policies because it's good for them, right? Trump has been overwhelmingly great for rich people. I broke that down on Thursday. All right. In fact, an analysis of data conducted by David K. Johnston of DC Report found that, again, rich people did really well, poor people not so well. In fact, how'd poor people do? Well, an analysis of nearly 87 million taxpayers making less than $50,000 a year found that those taxpayers had to get by in 2018 on about $307 less in household earnings than in 2016. So they were actually doing better before Donald Trump, poorer people, Okay, the people in the small boats, people in the larger boats. Uh, in according to the numbers, that's people making over $200,000 or more. Their incomes went up, and the number of taxpayers making $10 million or more soared by 37% to a record of 22,000 households. And now, if you made between $50,000 and $100,000 a year, you saved an average of about $143 in taxes. But if you made $500,000 to $1 million a year, you saved an average of $17,800 in taxes, thanks to Donald Trump. So again, if you're poor, doing pretty badly, you're underwater. If you're rich, you're doing fantastic and you don't give a damn about anybody else around you. Okay? Because as a result of these tax cuts, you had government programs for the poor and the working class that are getting cut. And so you are literally underwater, at least when it comes to finances. So then why would you support Donald Trump, right? Well, I mean, there's got to be a reason. I mean, something that counteracts the fact that under Obama and Biden, you actually did better. 57% of American households were better off under Obama Biden than they were under Trump. And again, this is pre-COVID, right? So why would you? Why would you? I mean, look, there is the argument from some people on the left, right, that Biden and Trump are fundamentally the same, right? I don't agree with that. I do think we desperately need to fundamentally change our economy, but for the moment, I do think working people will be a little bit better off under Biden than they would under Trump. And again, we have historical evidence to suggest that working people tend to do better under Democrats than they do under Republicans. But anyway, why vote for Trump then and against your own economic interests? Well, because Trump hates who you hate. And he also basically signals to people that it's okay to openly hate others, right? He says it's okay to openly feed your bigotry that that you originally had to hide because you were afraid of PC culture, right? Now Trump says, I don't have to be afraid, of being politically incorrect. Well, what does being politically incorrect mean, right? I mean, it basically means you can say the N-word. You feel like you have the license to say the N-word and other things against, for example, transgender people, members of the LGBT community, racial minorities, etc. Right? That's the freedom that you have under Trump now, or at least the perceived freedom. Like, hey, I get to say those things now. Okay. Again, there are three kinds of people who vote for Republicans. All right. Rich people, people who simp for rich people in the hopes that they'll become rich one day, and dumb racists.